What's good with y'all, man? We back with another video. My bad for disappearing, but we are officially back. Besides the point, you guys are here for the Nico Baran Drake style video. You guys want to get that sound down. Obviously a lot of ICEMAN hype coming up. The last video did good and you guys want more of those videos, so I'm doing a different type of style of video today. I'm gonna run through 2 samples very quickly compared to just spending a lot of time on one sample. So yeah, let's get straight to it. So here we're on the first FOP. Like I said, I'm gonna just quickly run through it. Here's a preview of the sample. Pretty much the main concept of the sample, and just to quickly run through it, it's very simple. You first obviously have a bass. He obviously uses a lot of real synths. I use my Prophet Rev 2 a little bit in the sample, but I'll show you guys good alternatives. First, starting with the bass, I use Analog Lab and I use this preset right here. This preset is from Johnny Giuliano's Evil Johnny Bank. You guys can go to his website or Instagram, get his Analog Lab bank. It has a lot of dope sounds and it has this one bass on here and it's perfect for that style. So I just had these 2 basic notes playing, F sharp and then C sharp, and then just going back and forth. As far as the effects, I have nothing on here. So moving on to the next sound is the percussion. I wanted to add a little bit of groove and rhythm. Nico loves to use a lot of little perk loops or little drum fills or just little textures and perks in the background to add some bounce and rhythm. So I actually got this from his own kit, the Nico Baran Circuits one-shot kit. And this is a nice little unique perk texture, and I mean it's literally from him, so it has that perfect Nico sound to it. So I added a good amount of effects on here to get that exact sound. I started with 2 flangers, or a flanger and a flangus. I'm using just stock FL presets, stock FL VSTs. Here's the flangus, and then I have a very fast delay on here. It's on 1.3, and I have it ping pong, so it's panning left and right very harshly. And then I have a EQ just filtering out the perk loop, so I'm cutting out all the lows, and I'm doing a harsh cut on all the highs. I have a compressor maxed out pretty high where it's just compressing the perk loop, just adding a little touch to it. And then I have a pancake giving it more movement, panning left and right as well. Most of these effects are stock. I think this compressor is free if you guys get it. I think it's limited time only, so all these sounds you can just use in your own samples as well. I did automate the delay. When there's that little pause on the bass, I wanted to leave some room, just some emptiness for maybe drums or the artist. So I didn't want that delay to carry over, so I just automated it and cut it off. Now the sound that you guys are all probably here for, that little lead, that little bass lead or synth lead that you hear. Now I actually used the same bass again that I showed you guys earlier, the bass Dean type that's from the Johnny Giuliano kit, but I ran it through my chroma console. Now I know not everybody has a chroma console, so luckily for you guys I have an alternative today to copy that same effect. It's obviously not always going to be the exact same. Nothing beats obviously real gear, but you can get pretty close with VSTs. So as you can tell, there's a lot of delay, there's a lot of distortion, like a very warm, gritty distortion, more delay, this little like stutter, I guess you call it, that plays at the end of the lead. Easy effects you could use to copy that is with the distortion and warmth. You can use J37. I just go in here with the Abbey Road default preset. Let me make this a little bigger so you guys can see, and then you can just turn the saturation up. I have it up to 10.5, around that range. I want to have it high enough to the point where it's not distorting the whole lead, but whenever the lead kind of peaks in volume, it adds that nice grit, distortion, kind of clipping sound. You can use any delay. Delay is very easy to replicate. I use Valhalla delay, 1/4 delay. I turn the feedback up and I turn the drive up. And then you can use Fruity delay, you can use any other delay you would like. And then just like I did on the chroma console, lastly, I filtered out the sound. Now I also made it mono because the lead that I use in here is mono, because my chroma console is mono. Right, and obviously tweak the settings to your liking, to your sample. But lastly, on the actual recording, I added an EQ filtering out the low end on the actual recording, and I added more delay on here. So just kind of lowering the low end, leaving that room for the bass. Now lastly, I added this little accent from Nico's kit again, and then just a little ARP. It's very tucked in the background. It's not huge and very upfront, but this sound is from the Giant Giuliano kit again, the ARP Moonbow. And effects, I just have a pancake, a calm little delay, and I'm just raising the high end. But that's pretty much it for the sample. I have more recording on the lead, but that's pretty much it for the first one. Let's go on to the second sample. All right, so here we are in the second sample. Now this one might be even more simple because I think there's the same or even less layers on this one. So let's just quickly run through it. This one is the vocal type of sample. Everybody loves those Nico Baran vocals. Today I have a perfect one. I'm gonna show you guys where I got the vocal from.
You're my favorite, you, yeah. No one compares to you, you're my favorite, you, yeah. No one compares to you.
So I first started with this keyscape, and I just want to play these really melodic, nice, smooth chords. And to just quickly run through these chords, I'm using a lot of minor ninths. You guys could copy the same style by just using minor ninths, and then I just brought some of the notes down on the second half and just fixed the rest to match the scale. And then I just played some catchy top melody. Now I added a decent amount of effects on here. I have a halftime, a regular standard halftime. I have the band up halfway, so the halftime is only affecting the higher frequencies. And then I turned the mix down to 81% just so it's tucked in and it's not taking over the full sound. I have a regular stock reverb on here, just making it a lot more open. I have a delay tucked in the background with the tone and the wet knob. And then lastly, a chorus, classic chorus. Nico always has that wide chorusy type of feel and sound in his samples, so I knew I had to add that with these little like Rhodes or electric piano that I had. And the preset is from Keyscape and is this one right here. One of my favorite presets to use for R&B or these like really smooth type of samples. So I basically rendered that into this audio form right here. So that's what this one is. So moving on to the second sound, I wanted to layer it and give some more low end and warmth to the sound. So I added this love signs and triangles preset from Omnisphere. Not too much to explain. I'm using the same notes like I said. I'm just focusing on good sound selection and kind of just putting things together. As far as the effects, I know I panned the keyscape a little bit to the right, so I panned this one a little bit to the left just to kind of separate them a little bit in the mix. And then as far as the effects, I have a EQ lowering some of the low mids and lows. And then I have a compressor compressing the pad a little bit just because the volume was kind of peaking here and there. I just wanted to control it a little more. And then another EQ lowering some of the lower mids just so it didn't sound so like boxy. That's pretty much the main foundation and the main part of the sample. After that, I added this little top melody just to transition into the second half. As you can see, it's only playing at the end of the 8 bars. And it's just a very worn down vintage piano, and that preset comes from Contact, the Postcard piano. I don't know which preset I'm using exactly, but it's probably one of these starred ones because I like to use these a lot. But again, just a little run going down, and I'm really focusing on the velocity to give it some emotion and some feeling, and I just have it be all static like this. I have no effects on here. I just like the dry sound. It sounded perfect and I just left it. Before we get to the vocals for the second half, I added this extra layer. It's just another piano. This is the preset that I used. For the effects, this one has just a regular EQ, lowering some of the harsh highs. I have a retro tape, making it a lot more vintage by using this Master Subtle Cassette EQ preset and then turning up the age. And then just have a regular delay, 1/4, and I'm just kind of having it cover the high end by turning the tone up. That's pretty much the full sample. Now the 2 vocals that I have down here. If you guys want to make these vocals from scratch, I have a bunch of videos. I actually think my latest Drake video, I show you guys how to make vocals from scratch, but I have plenty on my channel. I'll have my favorite one in the top right or left corner of the video right now if you want to learn how to make it from scratch. But if you're on a little time rush or you just want to get a specific sound that you can't make yourself, I just went to good old Splice and I pulled out this vocal right here.
You're my favorite view, whoa, yeah. No one compares to you.
So for this one, I put it on time and I just sped it up. I didn't change the pitch or anything because it already fit my sample. but I just sped it up. And as far as the effects, pretty simple effects. I have a M auto pitch, which is a auto tune, but I just have the auto tune off, and I'm using the format shift. This is kind of just filtering and smoothing off the high end of the vocal, and it's just changing the format of it. This is a free plugin, by the way. This is my favorite auto tune to use. I have a flangus, a reverb, just having a very short decay, kind of like a room reverb, and then I have a EQ filtering out the vocal just so it's not too clean and high. So you got to remember, the artist is always going to cover this range up here, so you want to filter out your vocals or any harsh instruments to leave room for the artist. And then last but not least, just compressing the vocals a good amount.
You're my favorite, you, oh, yeah, no one compares to you.
And then for the second half, I'm literally using the same vocal, except for this one I added this delay on here on the vocal, and then I routed it to the original mixer track that I had on here with all the effects. I think this is another vocal from the same pack on Splice. It's just singing a different melody. And then yeah, I just have that layered for the second half. And then yeah, that's pretty much it for the master. I have a sound shift up here, pitching the whole sample 3, and then I have an EQ cutting out a tiny bit of those highs just to make it sound a little more vintage. But that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys did enjoy the 2 sample breakdowns, let me know if you guys enjoy this style of video more. If you guys like these, I'll do more just like these. I'm gonna be back uploading 1 to 2 videos a week. My bad for disappearing on y'all. Had some other things going on. Hope you guys do enjoy. If you guys did, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to see some more videos, and I'll see you guys in the next video.